Yeah, I'm Torp. And don't for a second think this dude's telling the whole story. The only reason I lent him my rig was because he got down on his knees and begged. And what happens? He's in it for 1 second before it completely turtles it. Idiot. I'm not letting this dip out of my sight until he repays me the 5,000 coin repair costs. Yowza. Luigi, how do you get into so much trouble?
Wow, 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 wow.
Oh, that's a clumsy little brother for you. Yo, YouTubers, welcome back to Let's Play Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. Last time we spoke with Luigi, took care of some troubles in the Trouble Center, and in doing so, recruited an optional party member, namely one Ms. Mouse. And in this part, we're finally going to progress the story, and therefore, get our rear ranch to the 1,000-Year Door. I'm sorry it's been so long since the last episode. Thing is, well, I just haven't had motivation lately. I've been doing a lot of stuff for Nothing Makes Sense, my Sprite series, but other than that, not much on recording things either. But I got it back for right now. Especially seeing that Perfect Phoenix finally got mentioned in the Spotlight. If you don't know what that is, then just go to the channel listed in the description below, and you might understand. In the meantime, let's get this over with. Okay, the location of a crystal star has been recorded on your magical map. Try saying that 3 times fast. Even though I just said it fast once. Now in this chapter, there's gonna be a lot of crazy stuff that I do a lot, that's for sure. Whoa, what?! That was written in Princess Peach's email? The legendary treasure is actually the spirit of an ancient demon. Those fiends once used the power of the crystal stars to resurrect it? How bone-chilling. Sadly, it does seem to be consistent with what I've uncovered. What have you found out, Professor? This is rather long, so you'd best listen well. Are all of you ready? And you there, in front of the TV, you listen up too. See what I mean? Maybe I'm missing something. Are you talking to no one? Oh, never you mind. Don't worry about such trivial details, just listen. The great cataclysm that I read about in that book may well refer to this demon. It says that a monster destroyed a large town that once stood in this very area. It also says that the 7 crystal stars were actually created by this monster. And that this thing used the power of the crystal stars to try and control the world. What else is new? According to this book, the demon was defeated in the end by 4 heroes. But only the beast's physical form was destroyed. Its spirit could not be eradicated. So, the heroes used the crystal star, which they had stolen from the demon, and they cast the evil beast into the depths of a vast maze and sealed the exit. From this, I gather that the crystal stars cannot distinguish good from evil. So, if they're all united, they could either seal away or resurrect the demon. It seems that who wields the crystal stars determines if they're used for evil or good. I guess we ought to consider not collecting the crystal stars then. It would be awful if we found them all, only to have them stolen for evil purposes. Does anyone think it might be better to destroy them once and for all? You would think that, wouldn't you? That was my first thought, too. But further research suggests we can't do that. There's a slight possibility that the thousand-year door is weakening. It seems the crystal stars hold the power to seal the beast for 1,000 years. So once 1,000 years pass, the power to keep the door sealed shut will fail. And unfortunately, this year may be the 1,000th year. Bad luck, huh? Just a coincidence! The fact that those goons want the stars now may be coincidence, but maybe not. I just said coincidence! In other words, we must be ready for the demon's return, even if the X-Nauts fail. I guess we'd better find the rest of the crystal stars then, huh? Vivian, you're cute, but would you please make up your mind? Where do we start? According to the map, it appears to be somewhere on Keelhaul Key. Keelhaul Key? I'm not too familiar with the place, but I've heard countless unsavory rumors. You know, the usual stuff. Vengeful spirits full of hatred, evil curses, things like that. I'm sure the sea salts down by the harbor know more. You should head there first. Not a bad idea. And he wasn't kidding, that was long. 6 flippin' minutes, almost 7 already. Really ought to consider not reading all that. You know, just save the small stuff. Excuse me, just had lunch. Now, of course, technically you could go to the harbor, but it's better to talk to this guy. And what do you want, huh? Who and me, you ask about? Ah, I am called Flavio. I am, how you say, a trader, the richest man in Rogueport. Monetary wealth gives me freedom, yes, and freedom gives me wealth of spirit. And yet, why is it that a man whose life is unchanged must always long for yet more, huh? What is missing from my life? This tears at my very insides. I must know. What do I lack? Well, you could answer any of these, but if I were to guess, he sounds like a lonely man, so yeah. Romance, you say, huh? I suppose one does need some romance in life, or blah. I can't make those round toasts to save my life. What other sweet, delectable fruit could make so many wonderful pasta sauce? What? Okay, this is getting ridiculous. We're getting past all this, or as much as possible. Long story short, basically Flavio here has a ship that could go to Keelhaul Key. We tell him a story, and bada bing bada boom, he's pretty much going to take us there. That's all there is to it. Yeah, back to skipping. Because really, for some reason, just talking so much just seems to hurt my throat for some reason. Or just because I'm not sitting up straight the way my chair is.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, I think that's better. I think. Well, other than that, it's decided. Like Flavio's gonna take us to Keelhaul Key. Although he does say we need a navigator or something. Or maybe that's not yet. Maybe that's later. Never mind. I'm losing my mind. What there is of it. And I wonder what this guy's got for us now. Just looking. Okay, he's got Hammerman, a Jam and Jelly, Attack Effect G. Nice. You can only afford one of these. I'll go with Attack Effects G for now. There we go. Speaking of the badges, I didn't technically show off the one we got from Ms. Mouse. Squeaky, huh? And this new one we got. Alright, who gave me a tickle badge? So that's four effects badges down. I think there's only one left to go. Where that one is, I don't remember. But I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. I ain't. Oh yeah, so it is you, huh? Well, sadly, a slight problem seems to have popped up. But feast your eyes on this outrageously fantastic ship. She's a fine vessel, no? No. She's the SS Flavion, the queen of the countless ships in my personal fleet. You have a fleet? Yeah, right. The raw majesty of her hull, the pomp and circumstance, none can compare to her. Behold the elegant curve of her prow. She cuts the very soul. Don't you agree? But she's not just a beauty; she's a savage beast on the water, tops among sailboats. But above all, I tell you, this proud ship can. Oh, right. The problem that has sprung up. I'd completely forgotten about it. The SS Flavion, she bewitches me. Yes, well, here's the issue. We have no navigator. He ran off, the dog. Should I get a bone? The navigator, of course, is the highest rank helmsman. They steer ships, you know. Now here's the real problem. The waters around Keelhaul Key are deathly dangerous. We need an absurdly skilled helmsman for our navigator. It is a, how do you say, a pickle? Oi, Flavio. Heard you talking there, sir. If you don't mind me saying, I might have a solution. Do not tease me, Papatch. You can solve our problem? Then spit it out already. Well, sir, I've heard talk of a legendary sailor living in Rogueport. Yeah, I think he's called Admiral Bobbery, a salty old sea dog by all accounts. But he's said to have an helmsman touch, sir. He can make any ship bow to his will. Thing is, there ain't a soul what's seen him in the seas of late. Basta boom! Problem solved. Let us scout out this Bobbery fellow and get him on board. Of course, that's our job. Since I forgot to mention, this Flavio guy has made Mario the captain. Captain Mario, huh? Who would have thunk it? Now to speed this up, we're gonna need Little Mac, cause, you know, he's a real running guy. I bet you he'd ace a marathon, hands down. I'm just giving you a word of warning. If there's anything you want to get before heading out, you're going to want to do that before you even get on board once everything's said and done. Because once the chapter starts, you cannot go back to Rogueport until the chapter is done. Understand? Now what you gotta do is climb all the way back up here, and use Yoshi to get over on this side, and now that we have the tube ability, just roll up. Whoa, not that way, this way. Thank you. What do you blokes want? You seek Admiral Bobbery? Never heard of the gent. Take your search elsewhere. Now away with you. Touchy. Wonder what his problem is. Well, I better talk with Flavio about this. And it's already about 14-15 minutes and we haven't even started the chapter yet? Sheesh. I know reading text makes a video longer, but jeez Louise. This is longer than I would have liked. Well, that's the price you pay, I guess. The price you pay. You found someone who matches Barbie's description, but claims that it is not him? Strange. I would ask someone who is knowledgeable about the neighborhood about this. Yeah, only one place I know of. Back to the bar. Even though I don't drink, I'm sure the barkeep there's got a lot of info. Barkeepers tend to know a lot about these things. Especially when the locals are around, they come visiting a lot. Excuse me, Buzzy boy. Admiral Bobbery? Yeah, I know him. You know that house just past the wall to the eastern part of town? That's his. But I think both you and he would be better off if you just let him be. Well, that's where we just were. Let's go talk to that old sea dog. Sea dog already, huh? Definitely matches the description Papatch talked about. Now, that's kind of an odd name, don't you think? Papatch? I mean, it sounds like Porky Pig trying to say patch, you know? Patch. Admiral Bobbery? I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about. Now, if you please. Please don't insult us. We already know you're the Admiral, so just admit it. What poppycock? Tell me, what would you want with me if I were this chap? You say your ship needs a navigator, and you want me to do the job, huh? So sorry, but you'll have to look elsewhere. I shall set sail upon the sea nevermore. But maybe you don't understand how important this is. We need you. Without you, we'll never get to Keelhaul Key. Awfully sorry, dear boy, or girl. But when I say no, what I mean is, no! I always wanted to do that. That's a fine predicament, ain't it? What do you think, Mario? Nothing we've seen seems to be enough to convince this man. But don't you find it odd? Why would a sailor have such a hatred for the sea? We need answers. Maybe we should ask around town about this man's story. Let's go talk with Poppy, the barkeep, again. Surely he knows something. If he knows where Bobbery lived, he's sure to know his backstory. I mean, with mustaches like theirs, how could they not? You say Bobbery won't go to the sea, huh? Well, can't say that surprises me. The real question is, are you folks really sure you want Bobbery back on the water? Oh, is that it? Now I see. You want him on an expedition to Keelhaul Key. Rough seas out there. Most sailors would meet their ends. Not old Bobbery, though. The fact of the matter is, Admiral Bobbery's tale is sad. Horribly sad, actually. You'll probably end up crying, but I'll tell it to you, if you really want me to. Well, let's get this over with. Probably use it the last of the video, that's for sure. In that case, get ready. Bobbery's tale of woe goes something like this. Let me grab a drink of water first. Bobbery was once married. He had a wife of enduring beauty named Scarlet. The two of them were madly in love, the sort of love reserved for fairy tales. Now, Bobbery was a renowned sailor, so he was away from home for long periods. Scarlet never complained, though, and always waited faithfully for Bobbery's return. And Bobbery, his eye never drifted. He loved only Scarlet, truly and deeply. So they lived, and found happiness where they could. And all was good, for a time. But not all good things can last. It was a particularly icy winter when it happened. Scarlet fell ill. A virus? A passing cold? No one knew, but it soon turned serious. Bobbery, at sea on a long, lonely voyage, knew nothing of his bride's suffering. By the time he returned, Scarlet had succumbed. She was gone. Bobbery, of course, blamed himself. My loving wife perished because of me. If I were not at sea, I could have nursed her to health. I could have saved her. He was overcome with such thoughts. They tormented him always, haunting his sleep. He had never gone out to sea since. I can't imagine what that poor man went through. No wonder he won't sail. You all know his tale now, so tell me, do you still want him to return to the sea? Well, he may have suffered a lot, but he's the only one who can do it, so we don't have a choice in the matter. Very well. I understand. If you're that determined, then I'll give you this. We got an old letter. On her deathbed, Scarlet wrote Bobby a final letter. You hold it in your hands. I don't know what's written inside, but I can tell you that she told me what she told me as she lay dying. If I should succumb to this plague, and if my love should blame himself for my death, then give this letter to him, so he may hear my voice. It was her last request. But when I saw Bobby in misery, trying to forget the pain as he mourned his wife, I just couldn't bring myself to present this letter to him. I've regretted it ever since. Please, take this letter, and do the deed I was too cowardly to do. Take it to Bobby. Thank you so much, Podley. We'll deliver the letter, don't you worry. Ready, Mario? You know it, cutesy. So, Podley was his name, not Poppy. My mistake. Yeah, that name was too Kronk's New Groove anyway. Get it? Well, never mind. Well, here we go again. What? Oh, by Blabberton's beard, not you again! No matter how many times you entreat me, my stance is firm. Now away with you! Pardon? A letter, you say? For me? What? Scarlet! This is Scarlet's handwriting! Scarlet, my love. My love, if you're reading this letter, then I am no longer by your side. Because fate has stepped between us, I've decided to write you this letter. If you're reading this, I must have passed away while you were out at sea. I can only assume that you will blame yourself for it, my sweet Bobby. Although my life was short, you gave me more than a lifetime's worth of joy. Though you will mourn, I beg that you remember that time, like love, is a tide. You are one with the sea, as you were one with me. Do not lose both your life's loves. Time, like love's a tide. You are one with the sea, as you were one with me. 1,000 pardons, but may I have a moment alone, if you please? Totally understandable, old man. Totally understandable. Yes, love, I was happy. My sweet, sweet Scarlet. I love you still. Now then, you were looking for a navigator, I believe, bound for Keelhaul Key?
Oh, yeah.
If you think an old sea bomb like me is what you need, then let's shove off! Alright, so Bobby has finally agreed to come with us. The ship's in the harbor, huh? I must inspect her before we leave. I shall meet you there. You probably expect us not to dawdle, but unfortunately we're gonna have to, cause 24 minutes, that's long enough for me. So in that event... Email! I'm so sick and tired of these stupid emails. Why did Nintendo put that in anyways? What's the point? Ugh. In any event, next time on Thousand Year Door, we will finally set sail for Keelhaul Key, and yeah, a bunch of other crap. So, till next time, YouTubers, on that note, I hide in the shadows. Alright, I take my leave. Happy now?